Butterfly in the sky, I can go twice as high. Take a look, it's in a book, it's Reading Rainbow.
No, it's not.
That's the Hateful Geeks, and I'm one of your many hosts, Phil.
This is Sweetie.
I'm Andy.
And this is Tim.
And this week we have a special guest, Mr. Charlie Eskew.
Thank you.
A published author, Columbus local, and all-around super geek. And joining us this week, we're going to pick his brain and poke him in the third writer's eye.
Ooh. Which is not the brown eye.
Charlie, welcome to the show, man.
Thanks, man. Thanks. I'm glad to be here. I'm also glad that you opened with Reading Rainbow, which stars LeVar Burton, also star of Roots, which means the first. Am I like your first black guest? You are.
I was like, where's he going with this? Where's he going? Yes, sir, you are.
I
was gonna make a lawsuit joke with like using the Reading Rainbow lyrics, but now you got me with that.
I mean, we did.
I had to play 7 degrees of Kevin Bacon or whatever to get there.
You nailed it.
We said we just finished our Black Panther review, so we felt
so
obliged.
in our defense, that was the first time Andy had seen a black person.
Wakanda forever.
There you go.
But yeah, no, it was awesome. I love your guys' show. I really enjoyed watching the episode for what was that movie? The Will Smith trashy.
Bright.
Yeah,
Oh,
Bright.
yes.
Bright, yeah. Yeah, I really enjoyed watching that, then watching the movie, and then kind of just touching back on.
I still haven't watched that movie.
Oh, yeah.
Oh.
You're not missing
We
anything.
appreciate you listening and watching. Yes.
Oh, definitely, yeah.
We like to paint a nice picture here when we do reviews, which is really just a nice way of saying we never grew up out of our third grade, like giving you a book report. And then this guy happened. And then this guy came on the screen. And then that guy died. That was the movie.
Right.
Yay!
Come back next week where I built my diorama in my shoebox.
There's a dinosaur in it.
Right.
We're going to open our Funko Pops and do reenactments.
So this guy shot this guy.
Oh, God.
Charlie, I mean, we were just of the opinion that when you talk about a movie, trying to like not talk about the plot is just, you're just limiting yourself, because that's one of the most important things.
Yeah.
As a writer, I'm sure you feel like plot and storyboarding is incredibly important.
Definitely, yeah, no, and I totally appreciate that the depth you guys kind of go in on some of those, even if the movie isn't. I sometimes don't entirely agree, but like maybe The Last Jedi, I may not have entirely agreed, but it was still great.
Well, before we get to really know you, could you tell me what are some things you disagree with us about?
Oh no! Okay, right. Well, I mean, namely The Last Jedi, just because it was like a topic around the office for maybe like a month, and currently still, and just the idea of I don't know. I just didn't like it. I can't say that it was a great movie. It was just, well, I didn't hate it. I just, for instance, the convoluted plot to get them to go on this expedition that ultimately didn't matter for anything, and nixing Admiral Akbar and deciding to go in.
It was time for him to go.
Yeah, it's true.
He didn't need to go out in style. He literally was a one-line character.
I mean, he also went out in a trap.
No, irony. Yeah.
He didn't see a trap coming.
I'll rethink my thoughts on it.
No, you're certainly in good company. A lot of people didn't like one of the greatest Star Wars movies ever made.
Yeah.
I know. I mean, I get it. A lot of choices were made in that film that hardcore fans don't like. But I have a real question for you.
Yeah.
Did you sign the petition to have it removed from canon?
That was a little silly because it happened. It's a movie. I mean, don't get me wrong. I get a little too invested in certain fictional worlds, and they're mine. How dare you? Oh my God! I may have started a Facebook page when I was a younger man that was titled "I Hate the Century," and I may have.
You are not alone.
Oh my God! You and Sam need to have a bro out right now.
I could go on a Lewis Black style rant about the fucking Sentry.
Right?
God damn, I hate that character.
It was just such a bad move. And then I was okay once he became a bad guy, because it's okay when you have absolute power
fuck him.
being a bad guy, because it's like, oh, you just have to kill him or defeat him or whatever.
Get off my comic.
Right? Exactly. But he was on every book. Like it was Sentry this, Sentry that. Oh, I'm Hulk and Sentry calms me down.
Yeah, right?
Like,
okay.
my magical shiny sun penis. I don't know.
Kind of, yeah. Like, yeah, a little bit.
Oh man. So yeah.
So other than Last Jedi, is there anything else that you just wanted to be like, these guys are idiots?
No. And you guys aren't idiots
He
at
says
all.
that now because he's here.
Right, exactly.
Now that we have you trapped.
See, now I work with him, so I will circle back and tell you what he actually says
Right,
afterwards.
exactly. Yeah.
Like, I don't know about you, but I only sustain on conflict, so I'm hungry.
Okay, great.
But I think Andy's got a couple questions he wanted to throw
sure,
your
yeah.
I know. Holy shit! I actually wrote stuff.
He wrote
man.
things down.
I
Guy,
did.
okay, prove Andy can write, guys.
I did it.
I mean, I don't know if you really want to proofread it, but like words are there.
They are
Using
there.
crayon.
Yes.
No, I make computer typey things and then I hit print.
Oh.
Oh
like,
man.
Welcome to the 21st century.
Oh
wait,
god.
I hate
Did
this
that get
century.
caught?
Oh, wrong
burp?
Wrong
century.
century.
That is the worst fucking dad joke I've ever heard in my life. God.
Oh,
No,
Don't you
no,
dare.
I'm not high-fiving
You
that.
don't get a high five.
Fucking awful.
Don't high five yourself.
You know that we have a camera now, right? You can't fake a high five anymore.
He's John Cena in the camera. I don't understand. Whatever.
This putz.
I have no clue
Yeah.
what's going on right now.
Oh man.
All right.
All right, so we're gonna kick it off. We're just gonna
definitely.
shoot some questions your way, and again, we are as loose and very
Good
loose,
choice of word there.
very shoot from the hip.
We're not.
All right. Totally game.
I mean, you're describing all of us, not just yourself.
Yeah, so
Have we reached maximum moistness?
I'm going to
yet?
start the
Moist.
stopwatch for your answers, and I'll let you know when your time is up.
Oh, I have a timeline. Oh, you're joking.
All right.
Oh, okay.
Oh, jokes.
Like, oh god, I didn't study. I didn't study me.
Andy, do us a favor and hold it up so you can actually read it, like close to your face, like this. There you go.
Hello.
Did he fucking adjust his glasses?
Yes,
he
he
fucking
did.
adjusted his glasses.
Stay a while. Listen.
By George, I can't believe she hasn't written in a century.
Bah, humbug.
Fucking
Oh,
shit.
God.
All right.
Wow.
Back to the real story.
So, Charlie,
Yes.
why don't you, for our listeners, just give like a little brief rundown of who you are, your background, where you've been born, raised, your family, just,
Social security number,
Do you want
bank.
his social mother's maiden name?
blood type,
What was your GPA in college?
Oh no, I'm totally game. It was back in West Philadelphia, where I was born and raised, on the playground. So, just shooting some hoops and playing ball. That's where I spent most of my days, until my friend got shot.
Oh, that went real dark.
And suddenly the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air has a better plot.
Like, fucking plot.
Right?
Was he shot by an orc?
Yes. Oh my God! Don't get me started on that heap. But I'm Columbus, Ohio, born and raised. This time I'm not spinning off. Grew up on East Side Columbus, then kind of bounced around. Now I am a 30-something, 33-year-old gentleman, and I've kind of just been writing and being a geek most of my life, though it's awesome this year. It's been kind of really great because it's like the first year, well, I guess these last 2 years that I'm actually kind of getting work in the field that I want to be in. So it's been an awesome last 2 years. I'm also engaged. And
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Golf clap.
I have 2 awesome brothers that I am a guardian for. That's pretty much me.
I'm going to golf clap that again.
Thank you.
Bravo.
So when he's saying he's a good person.
Well, right. Oh, man.
So, talking off and on at work and everything,
Yeah,
I know that you are a big fellow comic book geek.
Oh, yeah.
So, what do you recall? Like, what got you into comics? What kind of got your attention? Why? Why did you fall
into comics? Well, a lot of reasons. So, well, I guess to start, like the first comic book I ever got was it was a trade paperback too. It was when I was a kid. I also maybe mentioned this in my book, but which is not about me whatsoever. It's about a fictional character. Wolverine versus Spider-Man. It was one of the first things I ever read, and I had no idea who either of them were. I just was like, oh my God, this is so cool. Like, these swinging around. And I feel like, that obsessive part of every nerd kind of kicked in. Like, where you have that like Terrigen Mist Awakening where it's like, oh, hey, this is a thing I need to pour my all into. And I kind of just hit the ground running with it. So that got me into Marvel, and then, spinning off into other characters and going back and forth. And like, before I knew it, I was like carrying around like trades at school and hoping that nobody saw.
We talked about that today, how the kids today, them kids, they actually get to go to school and sit down and be like, holy shit, did you see Black Panther? Are you excited about Infinity War? Or did you watch this movie? Did you see Justice League? Where when we were younger, it was go to the English teacher who was cool enough to open the door up so you could go in there and secretly talk during lunch about comic books.
Yeah, like my younger brother, one of them, one day at school, he came home and he was wearing like a Rick and Morty shirt. It was like a Szechuan sauce shirt or something. And he had a picture of Rick drawn on his arm by a girl. And I'm just like, fuck you, man. I'm like, man, right? Exactly. It was the first day at school too. And I'm just like, man, I wish that was my life when I was a teenager.
Very cool. Good for him.
But that's just to go to show, like, it's changed. It's like, hey, you can like just be a geek now, and it's actually kind of awesome. So I don't know. I like it though, because now is like the time that all this investment, all like every dollar I've spent in my comic book pool is like coming to fruition. Like I can finally use this power I've been owning.
You could drop knowledge on him. Knowledge that he'll actually listen to.
Right. Yeah. So
it's awesome.
Yeah.
I gotta agree with you on like how lucky kids today have it, man. Because if I would punch all three of these guys if my wife would watch one episode of Rick and Morty with me.
Right.
Just one. And I even know which one it is. It was the Ricks Must Be Crazy. I would make her watch that episode.
These so darn
kids today.
Man, we sound like a bunch of old men on a porch.
I know, yeah, that's true.
Andy tends to like raise the age average of the room up by at least 25 years.
Close. You are not far behind me.
You shut up. I am 22 and a half. Fuck you.
We will count our gray hairs next time.
It's distinguished. Fuck you.
Hold on. I'm younger than any of you, and I probably have more gray or white hairs than.
Do you even have your license?
I think
no.
You're older
my
than
balls haven't grown.
You're older than Sweeney, aren't you?
No. I just turned 30 like 6 months ago.
Oh,
so.
congrats!
Oh, look at you.
Yeah, so I'm younger, but yet I have more. I have more like gray. Once this is all like grown out, I have more.
Welcome to the
Bill
slow
said,
saunter towards death.
It's distinguished. You're fine.
Yeah,
You've
It
aged
makes the
fine.
ladies like you all.
No, it's distinguished on me. It makes him look fucking old.
Honestly, I like. There was this one time I was in Cincinnati. I was at it's like a Findlay Market. It's basically like North Market for us here in Columbus. And there was this couple. They were two older black people with like gray dreadlocks that I was just like, did I just find my Kryptonian parents? Because like I love, like, I just can't wait to be gray and just be like just super gray dreadlocks. It just always has been a super cool
Do you watch or The Walking Dead?
Oh Christ! I knew he was gonna be.
I knew that reference with Ezekiel.
Like Ezekiel has some badass dreads.
He does.
So so with Walking Dead, I read the book and then the show came out. I watched season 1, and then even though I knew it was going to hit a wall because like I fucking love Kirkman, but like that whole prison thing, like not even the prison, but the farm. It in the comics, it's been a while, but I don't think it goes on
search
nearly
for
as
Sophia.
long. Yeah,
there's no search for Sophia.
An entire season looking for her.
So she's been dead. Spoiler alert: she's dead in the
just to shoot her at the end.
So I kind of like fell out of it at that point, but people like tell me, like someone at work mentioned that I kind of remind them of Ezekiel when I have like my hair down, and I was just like, oh, cool. I think.
I mean, I got a tiger.
He's a pet fucking tiger and uses a samurai sword. It's a compliment.
Fuck yeah.
He's badass.
That's awesome.
But he has the full gray
dreads.
Oh, nice.
Yeah,
awesome.
Plus, he's like he rules the it's an actual monarchy. It's called the kingdom, and he's the fucking king.
Nice. Oh,
so coming back to comics.
And
it doesn't even have to be comics, but I'm curious, who is your favorite fictional hero? And why?
Oh, that's
why did you have that? And why?
Can I amend his question, Andy, with your permission, please? What fictional hero do you fucking hate the most?
No, that's coming up. Don't jump ahead.
Oh, okay.
I'm sorry.
Don't jump the shark.
So we'll do love and hate.
Yeah, love and hate.
All right. No, that's awesome. The thing is, like, it's such an easy, obvious answer, but he was like, my first comic book love. It's Spidey. It always is going to be Spidey. And like, I love like, my B-listers and my C-listers, but Peter, man, that's where it's at.
I'm glad you said Peter because you also have on your desk a big figure of the Scarlet Spider-Man.
Yes.
I hate him.
You have Ben Reilly on your desk?
Yes, Ben Reilly. The Scarlet Spider-Man costume was like one of the coolest costumes.
Like the blue sweatshirt
one? Yeah, the blue sweatshirt. Okay, not like the
I just left the gym Spider-Man.
Yeah, but like that's part of it. It was like
Spider-Man.
It's like, how can I make this, like, I have nothing that Peter has, not that he had much, but like, and like, make it cool. And he just like grabbed a sweatshirt and I was like, that's so simple and awesome. And dude, I fucking cried the first time I read Spider-Man 75 when Ben Reilly died. I remember I was just like, no, he wasn't supposed to disintegrate. Like, it was just like, no.
Oh man, I thought the hate would be better, but that was pretty
Do you like Miles Morales?
Oh, I love Miles.
Okay.
Yeah, I love Miles Morales. His like Bendis does just like an amazing job on his like first arc, and then just I love that he used the usual Spider-Man characters in different ways, like because that was kind of the promise of the Ultimate Universe, is that we're going to get something new, something fresh, and it was for a while. But I feel like because of just the nature of comics, it kind of just fell into the old, like, Monster of the Week and things like that.
It ran its course after a while.
Right, yeah. And it was still awesome when it ended, but it was like, it was a good time to like decide, okay, let's change this. I was actually one of the people who was originally opposed to Miles, only because Spider-Man isn't like a pre-established mantle, like Batman's a mantle, like Flash is a mantle, like, there's all these like kind of things set in place to pass it on to the next individual. Like Bruce is always going to pass on the Batman mantle to one of the Robins because it's like the mission must continue. But with Spider-Man, it was so specific to Peter. But then I read Miles' first issue and I was like, oh, this is so cool, the writing of it, because not only did it make sense, but it wasn't just the passing of like a costume and powers. It was a passing of, with great power comes great responsibility, which I didn't think you'd be able to do. So I really
Bruce Wayne is Batman.
Right. Well, he always will be.
Dude, yeah. Terry McGinnis is a good Batman, Andy.
Bruce Wayne
will
with you. And Peter Parker will always be Spider-Man. Like, I don't mind Miles. And actually, I like Miles' costume.
Oh, I love Miles' costume.
Like, I love his costume. But the same as you, Peter Parker's.
Yeah, just because it's who I don't know. Oh god, that sounds so lame. It's who I grew up with. You know, these new comics, they don't sound like fucking like anti-image comics. We're not your daddy's comics. For those 90s image fans.
But I want to be my daddy's comics.
Right?
No, but we're the Wildcats.
Right.
Savage Dragon.
Wildcats.
Young
Wildcats.
Young
Blood.
Spawn.
They're still
Spawn
trying to
was-
bring Young Blood back.
Shadowhawk. Was it Shadowhawk?
I think.
I might
don't
be.
know.
I think Spawn. I think Todd McFarlane is like personally responsible for the invention of the Edgelord. Thanks to Spawn.
Yeah.
I feel like Spawn's art and like it was like a big like metal concert like for your eyes.
Oh yeah,
But like a metal concert where they used to be in Christian rock. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah. Like
So it's like more spikes and more chains, like more skulls,
Pouches. All the pouches.
And then
That's when Jim Lee took over the X-Men, and it was just like, how many more pouches can I throw on these characters?
Oh, but Jim Lee's like
I
art
love
design
Jim Lee.
on
I love Jim Lee.
X-Men back then was so fucking
To
good.
be fair, Rob Liefeld did patches more than Jim Lee did.
Yeah.
Liefeld.
Muscles that had muscles on top
I'm
of
like
the muscles.
pursing my lips right now. Yeah.
Wasn't Rob Liefeld responsible for gigantic titty Captain America?
Yeah.
Gigantic titty and then small head Captain America.
Yup.
Yeah, that one. The one that has like a heart the size of a small Buick in his chest.
Right.
Fuck Rob
It's
Liefeld.
head
Oh,
smaller than this
God.
bottle of Flarp.
Which is so funny because, you have to thank him for Deadpool, but not really because, like, the Deadpool we know now is so different from, like, that original one.
I don't have to thank him.
Right? I'm not giving that credit.
I'm not. No, I'm all right. For a while at the comic book store I used to run, we had this fake thing of like picture of Rob Liefeld and then the Snickers thing that satisfies. So Rob Liefeld satisfies, and it's just goofy Rob Liefeld like.
I think I know the exact picture you're talking about. Yeah.
Yep.
Oh, man.
All right, so Charlie, like, so who do you hate? Who can you not stand?
Where to start?
Oh, we already mentioned the Sentry.
Oh, the Sentry. I got to actually ask like Bendis about the Sentry once at Comic-Con. He was doing like an open question thing. And I just like was telling him just like, can you just like save us from this? Like, he's just like, oh, just keep reading. Just keep reading.
You're like, no.
Yeah. No, that's the point.
Just tell me when to start reading.
Right?
back in my younger days, and I'm not proud of this. I was drunk and ran into Paul Jenkins at a bar at a con. And just drunkenly went off on how Sentry's a terrible character.
He deserved it though.
That would have been amazing.
Fuck the Sentry.
Yeah, no, man, such a bad character. And like it was fun at first. I will say like the first run of New Avengers when they introduced the idea of him, I was like, oh, that's kind of interesting. This character who's like been around but nobody's known about him, and then they start actually writing him, and I'm like, oh my gosh, just no, just stop it. He can beat everybody, he can do everything, and he hasn't earned it like Superman has. Like he just kind of showed up.
Yeah, because I think this drunken rant happened like right around World War Hulk ending.
Oh no.
And that was just like peak fuck the Sentry.
We need the Sentry back to stop the hoe.
Right. Because like the first issue came out and I was like, I swear to God, if the Sentry just comes in and whoops on the Hulk, I'm going to be pissed. And that is exactly what happened.
Just baffling to me. Like one of your character's powers is he literally unhulks the Hulk.
Right.
That's a fucking power.
Yeah.
He makes him not mad anymore.
Like I'm a big Superman fan, but I'll be one of the first ones to admit he's kind of overpowered. Fuck you,
kind of. Yeah. I mean, yeah.
Andy, I don't want to hear your mouth for the next 10 seconds. That's all I want to say.
Are you a Superman fan or?
No, I actually do.
Oh, really?
But we fight for the Superman
we
Batman.
both like we agree that you can't have the world's finest without one or the other. So we are both fans of both, but I prefer Batman.
Yeah.
He prefers
Entirely.
Superman. So we
Yeah.
But
I have a problem with like ninja furry pedophilia. As I don't know what to tell you. It is what it is.
This is the worst marriage.
Yeah. I like some Superman arcs, but to me, I don't know. It's just his. It's that problem that you kind of write yourself into when you have a character that can do anything and everything. It's like, where's the actual conflict going to come in?
Superman hasn't thrown a cellophane S in many years. That has to happen.
I could appreciate, of course, his like contribution to comic history, etc. But like when it comes to his stories, unless you have a really fucking good writer on him, like he kind of just is there. Like it's like, okay. He's gonna, kryptonite, and no. I just feel like magic gets underutilized because that would be like I love when magic comes into play because it's not so much a like instant defeat of Superman. It's like, oh, he has to think his way out of this. He has to like work, you know.
Everyone forgets Zatannic and just take him out with a sentence.
Yeah.
True. Yeah.
How broken is that, damn it? so yeah, I will admit that Superman is a little, even he's a little too big for his britches. But the fucking Sentry, is like,
wait, good flip there. Right back to it.
Yeah, sorry.
The Sentry is fucking Superman on meth while like smoking like the dude. He's blonde hair, he's blue eyed, he's a fucking glow in the dark douchebag.
Also, he was flat out okay with Norman Osborn killing his wife, but no. When he dies, he's the best of us. Fuck off.
Fuck off. And he's schizophrenic too. Like he has like an evil version of him. He's Bizarro and Superman in one person.
He gets powers because he broke into a chemical lab and like chemicals landed on him or some bullshit. I don't know. It's you were a thief,
right?
But again, and I go back. He was the best of us. Fuck that. Fuck that.
Tim, I've never seen you so passionate about it.
Beautiful trigger.
I know.
The
trigger counter.
Goddamn much.
Oh man.
I mean, I'm not even going to get into his death issue.
Oh
like like the fallen sun, but it's not sun like because Captain America dead. It's S-U-N.
The camera's up there. Flip up the camera. There you go.
Century.
I had to order that bullshit.
And even his name was kind of dumb. I mean, that's a whole other.
Okay.
So what's your favorite? No.
Another.
I'm sorry. I didn't mean to.
No, you're
Usa.
Others villains that I hate.
Well, that was the next. So you've said a hero, a hero that you love and hate. So a villain.
Oh,
because
villain.
You can't have a great hero
without
an amazing villain.
Okay, so villains is actually tougher because Spider-Man's so easy because he's just always been kind of like number one like character. But villains, there's so many people that kind of round it out. Any fiction or
any fiction?
Okay,
fictional character.
Ooh, makes it hard. Fictional character. Fictional character.
Ooh, sorry, I'm not trying to be the silent guy here. I just got to weigh my options. Oh yeah, of course. Mirror Master all day, every day. I mean, I know a lot of people love Venom, but I'm more a Green Goblin guy just because of what he means to Spidey. But
we're soulmates.
But he only really like ties to Spidey, so I don't know. Like after that, he's like his time in Dark Reign I really loved because he was really doing something, and then they just wrote him off as crazy. But I guess another favorite villain would probably be Sinestro, namely because he never really I forgot what arc it was, but it was like this Green Lantern arc where he goes he ultimately won, but people didn't know what he was actually after, and like it was when the Lantern Corps allowed lethal
force.
Lethal force.
Yeah.
And he was like, yeah, I won.
He was like, I got you guys to break.
Right, exactly.
It wasn't like 2 seconds before like 6 Green Lanterns killed someone.
Right, yeah, exactly.
Was that during Sinestro Corps War?
I think it was. I think that was during, or like that was like the ultimate, like the payoff at the end.
Yeah.
Superboy Prime had become part of the Sinestro Corps, and fought Sodom Yacht, who had Ion in him at the time, and shit was going bad for everybody. Like everything was dying and breaking.
Yeah,
and the Green Lantern, so we can't fucking win against this.
Yep.
Yeah, because
Guardians were like,
Kyle
dude.
Rayner.
Yeah. Thankfully, that was short-lived because Parallax was dumb. But I got it. That's another one that I thought was dumb. Not initially, because in the 90s, like, Kyle Rayner, that's another one of my favorite characters just because he, like, the whole Lantern Corps got demolished and Hal Jordan had become like a bad guy. And that was so good because it's like, oh, you have this hero falling from grace. But then it's like, we want our hero back. So we're going to like retcon and say, oh, there was this whole like, thing inside him the whole time. And yeah, so I didn't like Parallax at all. But, sorry, kids, ADHD. What was I going on with the Parallax and
We're talking about Sinestro. You really like
Sinestro,
Sinestro
right.
is your villain that you love.
Yeah. So Sinestro was really good. I love any villain that doesn't see themselves as a villain. They just see that their perspective is the right perspective. It's just that sometimes their means or their ultimate goal is not really moral. Yeah.
I would agree with you on the Venom. I love
Mm-hmm.
Venom, but I like villain Venom.
Yeah.
When Eddie Brock was no longer Venom and it became Flash Thompson and he became Agent Venom.
Yeah.
And then you had the anti-Venom and then you have like just
Venoms.
It was
Venoms,
Venoms.
and then you now have
he was Toxin for a short
Toxin,
time.
Yes.
and now you have like anti-hero Venom.
Lethal Protector Venom.
I like how you look,
Yeah, right.
but I want my villain back.
Exactly. Yeah. Of like you can praise design without loving the character, and yeah, I think that's definitely the case there. Shout out to Judas Traveler, one of the best villains ever created. Spider-Man Clone Saga. Worst villain
Please,
ever.
God, no.
Right.
Mother of God.
Mother of God.
I did like it when they brought Ben Reilly back for the most recent Clone Saga to make him the Jackal.
Yeah, that was a cool. Yeah.
Because you're right, because I feel like making him a D-list Spider-Man villain was appropriate for Ben Reilly.
Yeah. Oh, hey. Damn it.
I was like, cool, now we can hate Ben Reilly for a legitimate reason other than a sleeveless sweatshirt.
Oh, come on.
Over his red jump pajama suit. We all had it. It had the butt flaps. You had it. Baby.
So, like,
I still have it.
It actually kind of like ruined Ben a little bit for me when I found out, because I was one of the geeks that was like so anti Brand New Day. Like, I was just like, no, keep him married. Let him grow.
Again. We're soulmates. Because, like, if you want to hear me go on another Lewis Black rant, it's fucking one more day.
Right,
So,
yeah. Oh, sorry.
So for our listeners who don't know, Brand New Day was at the Civil War. Spider-Man revealed his identity to the world. Brand New Day is Spider-Man makes a deal with Mephisto, which is the Marvel version of the devil.
Wait, no, it wasn't Spider-Man. It was fucking Mary Jane.
Mary Jane made the deal?
Yes.
No, Peter Parker made that deal.
No.
She agreed to it. Yeah,
she whispered in Mephisto's ear to do it, and it was done. Mary Jane made the deal.
So he offered to Peter, and she accepted.
Yeah,
that's not a binding contract statement. You can't put Peter's name and let his wife sign for it. He didn't give her power of attorney.
Man, I mean, I one more day.
Where do you
Again,
start?
like I had to order this shit.
Oh, right, yeah.
Hold on for one more day.
So I didn't finish. So yeah, the devil makes a deal with Mary Jane apparently to let Spider-Man's identity become secret again by erasing it.
No, it wasn't that. It wasn't that.
And bringing back Aunt May.
Aunt May. It was Aunt May. It wasn't the identity. It was Aunt May.
That was just, they were like, oh, we can throw that in too.
Yeah, we'll just
Yeah.
Man.
So widely hated by many.
Give me 5 minutes of PowerPoint presentation.
next week.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, next week. Write that down.
You gotta admit, Tim, as a MacGuffin retcon, it's better than reality punching.
I don't know.
Man.
I feel like that would be a good debate there. Like,
reality punching. I want your marriage.
Microphone punching.
And it's really funny because, like, if you look at like how the stories played out, like Infinite Crisis, that was a really good arc. It just had such a shitty start with that. But then you have Brand New or One More Day, and like not the One More Day itself, but Straczynski's run, that was like basically the period to it. So like Straczynski's run to me was fucking phenomenal. And then you have that where it's like, damn it.
well, One More Day, because Quesada made him do it. If you look at the original issues, Straczynski took his name off of it.
Yep. Yeah.
It was he didn't agree with it so much.
Which made me very happy.
Like bravo.
Right. Oh man.
And then he left Marvel after that.
But then, like, I had to kind of eat crow because, like, I was just like, oh, Spider-Man's never going to be good again. And then, like, you see, like, Spider Island, and I'm like, oh, this is such, like, classic fun time Spidey. I love it because you just let it go. And also Superior. I love Superior, even though I was really anti that at first. So, yeah.
I am a massive Superior Spider-Man fan. Like, these guys will tell you, like, if he feels about Venom, that's how I feel about Superior Spider-Man. Like having Doc Ock in the body of Spider-Man for like a good year. Yeah. It was like 30 issues, I think, was amazing.
Some would say sensational.
It was sensational.
Some may even say web of. That one doesn't really stick.
Oh. Spectacular.
Yeah, there we go. Amazing.
It's just interesting seeing like what would Otto do with that circumstance. You know, all the shit he blames for like how his life goes, and you put him in Spider-Man's body, and here he is given everything he thought he didn't have. He still fucks it up.
I'm in the minority because I did not like Superior Spider-Man.
Oh, okay.
I gave it a shot. I gave it 8 issues, and I was done. I couldn't.
Yeah, no, I can see. I think part of the reason I read it as a trade, so I didn't have to wait through it all. Yeah, so
yeah, exactly.
So, well, we have to have a rough patch. We'll get through.
It does bring back Norman Osborn.
That's true.
You can't hate it for everything. I mean, that's one good thing it accomplished.
That's true. Right? That's true. Yeah. Yeah. But yeah, as far as villains,
so we got your favorite Sinestro, which was for the longest time, I hated everything about the Green Lanterns.
Really?
I was like, what kind of fucked up character were you just like, let's slap a ring on this guy and he uses his willpower to create anything he wants out of a goddamn ring and whoop-de-doo. And so I was like, no, fuck it. And then I finally sat down and I read the Blackest Night storyline, and I was like, all right, that's pretty fucking awesome.
Right? Yeah.
So then it kind of made me like go back and kind of reread.
Yeah, some classic.
And take it back. And I love Hal Jordan, but I'm with you. Like, I like Kyle Rayner.
Oh yeah, Kyle's my favorite.
Cool.
Yeah,
and Guy Gardner just is a bowl cut leather coat douchebag.
Oh, so. Completely.
For not liking Green Lantern at the start, you're a real son of a bitch.
Ultimately, Hal Jordan's my favorite Green Lantern, but everyone says that, so we got to just throw him out of the equation as far as I'm concerned. So I like Guy Gardner. He's a foul-mouthed, tough asshole who just like doesn't give a shit. His willpower just is exploding all over the place.
Nope, played for Michigan. Disqualified.
Fuck him.
Disqualified.
And that bowl cut, come on. It is 2018 and they still have not changed that goddamn
Dingleberry. And like Guy Gardner has not had a bowl cut since the late 90s. Fuck off.
I mean, he's still like Ginger Mo Howard.
Right. Yeah. And you can forgive some things for like just having that golden age charm. Like how they're bringing like Superman's costume back and things like that where it's like, oh, let's add some of those things like that were so like fun to the comic, but a bowl cut is not one.
No.
I'm sorry. Like that's just
we draw the line at bowl cut.
Right, yeah. Oh man.
Fucking haters gonna hate. That's fine.
So you're a writer.
Yes.
You are. That is awesome.
How are you?
What the hell you say?
This is my subtle segue into the next question.
Jesus Christ.
You write them things good.
Right?
All right. So what or who inspired you to become a writer?
Oh, a lot of people, I guess. Like that's the thing, like when it comes to just things that we consume and like make us like there's TV that made me want to write. There's comic books that made me want to write. There's like just like and then of course general just fiction that made me want to just dive into it. I'd say maybe one of the biggest things that made me want to write at first when I was a kid, my dad wrote. So that kind of like, you're a kid, you just want to kind of be like dad. So I wrote my first story that I wrote was, it was because my dad had gone back to college to get his degree in teaching. Was my dad's becoming a teacher. Unfortunately, that one is not going to be hitting shelves. But but it was the first thing I wrote. I was just like, oh, this is really fucking fun. I'm going to keep doing that. And then Buck just kept reading and just kept getting inspired by, because there's not just one person or like a small group that inspires. I think anything I get my hands on, there's something in it or something not in it that makes me want to either do what I can to either display that or try to match it to some degree. More recently, I'd say one of my biggest inspirations would be I guess Matt Johnson's a huge one. He writes fiction novels, but he also wrote Incognito. It was a comic about or a graphic novel about a individual who could pass as white and how he would kind of use that to navigate the world during segregation. There's also probably one of my biggest both just in general writers that I love is Dwayne McDuffie. He is, you can't get better than that. No matter what he wrote, it was always, he didn't care who the audience was. It's I'm going to treat you you're intelligent and really make a story that you can dig into. He wrote the episode for, the last episode, I think, epilogue for Justice League Unlimited, where it was just the Batman Beyond episode.
Yeah.
And that one to me, I mean, of course, that's not his big thing, but you have Milestone Comics, but I can talk about that for a while. But
it's my favorite episode of Justice League Unlimited.
Yeah, same here, because it was so adult and just so tragic, but also hopeful. Just the way that he dealt with Terry being disillusioned from the idea of oh, I'm a hero. It's no, I'm a hero. Shit. This is what it means for my life. And also his own identity of oh, I'm not my father's son. I'm Bruce Wayne's son. And yeah, it's I don't know. You can find that in so many different things that he does, throughout comics and. Just the original Static run, for instance. Not so much the Static Shock show, which was great, but he actually handled a lot of different topics within Static, the original comic run. And that one was wow, somebody's writing comics that I can not only relate to because Virgil was a huge geek, but also think about as somebody who has problems like this, because I am in middle school, high school, and everything else is showing it as this fluffed up this is just high school. It's no, shit can kind of get real there too. And yeah, I just really love Dwayne McDuffie. But yeah,
because that was my next question. Who's your favorite author? So thank you. You jumped ahead. Awesome.
And way to go.
Yeah,
Jesus.
And what are you either currently reading or just some of your favorite books to go back and reread?
Oh, well, as far as favorite books, I love, there's this one by George Schuyler, who it's a satire called Black No More. It's basically about, they found a cure to blackness. So ultimately you take this, it's been a while since I read it last, but there's a drug that's created that can turn you white, and a dude takes it and infiltrates a white power type of organization and kind of becomes a lead of it. Spoiler alert, he kind of hooks up with the leader's daughter, and he's scared because like even though the cure turns you white, your baby is still going to be
your offspring
so
will,
that's where like the conflict comes in. But it's satire, it's funny, but it's also like that's why I tend to write satire more because I like the idea of bringing like absurdity to light through humor and so but yeah, that's one of my favorites. Also The Spook Who Sat by the Door. I can't think of the author right now, but that was one of my favorite books. It's basically about a CIA spy who kind of is using his view as a lesser person to navigate and kind of create like an uprising within his community. There's also this one's going to be kind of cliche. Invisible Man. That's always one of my favorite books.
It's not cliche. I love that book.
Oh, awesome. Yeah. No, it's definitely one of my favorites. Just all around because it's plus like it kind of doubles as a send up to the Iliad and things like that. So that's really awesome. Tolkien, of course, because fantasy. Storm Constantine, really great writer. Patrick Rothfuss, oh my God, I'm so like writing that book series right now. The Name of the Wind. It's an amazing book about, I'm going to butcher it, but it's about a guy who knows the name of things, including the wind. But no, there's a whole magic system in it that's really good and really well thought out. And the writer is like a history buff, so like he uses that kind of like how George Martin does, more specifically with like European like history. To kind of form this really lush like world. And I love that like world building that's just well thought out, well planned, and like you can dive into and like kind of trick yourself into thinking is real for a while. So there's those are like the big ones I'm into right now as far as like the Name of the Wind specifically. But yeah.
I was gonna say I
can go on.
I like how a lot of movies or televisions, like you mentioned George R.R. Martin, and I saw Jurassic Park the film first, and then I was like, I loved it so much I went and read Michael Crichton's book, and I was like, I didn't think it could possibly be like as good or better because you just as a teenage kid I just saw real life dinosaurs because I was like, those are fucking real.
Oh, cool.
So then reading it I was like, holy shit, this is awesome too. And then I read The Lost World first and I was like, oh my God, this is awesome. Then I went and saw the movie and I went, oh my God, this blows.
I was like, how dare you. Well, yeah, that's the rub, right?
Yeah.
Because like I remember I used to like fucking devour Goosebumps books. Like I would love those shits. And then they made the show with like one of my favorite ones was The Haunted Mask or and like I was just like so amped, like oh, like because there's certain things that just can't be done, visually.
Is that the Phantom of the Opera one?
There's like the Haunted Mask. It's like a girl who finds a mask that. Oh wow, I forgot it.
Oh, doesn't she wear it? They go like trick or treating.
I think
it's
like
around.
Because
my son really got into the Goosebumps
really?
show.
Nice.
And so it was fun watching him.
I think I remember that now because isn't it like the cover. Like her in like a purple like witch outfit and she's like holding a bag.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Mm-hmm. It's a green mask.
Green mask.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that's where I'm at. I've not read Ready Player One, and I don't know if I want to read it, then go see the film, or I might see the film first because I don't want because everyone says it's a great read.
It is,
and I'm so afraid of reading it and then going to see the movie and being let down by the film.
I've been telling you this for a long time. You don't need to sit down and read this book. It is a great book, but do the audiobook. It's narrated by Will Wheaton.
Oh, yeah. The audiobook for that one's really good, actually. He does a great job.
So, Charlie, this book actually has special like feelings for me. Like when my wife and I went on our first date, I knew she was a big reader. So instead of bringing her flowers, I brought her books.
Yeah.
So I brought her a copy of Ready Player One, which I had just finished reading, and Ender's Game. And I handed them to her and said, if you can get through both of these books and still want to see me again, we're good.
Right, yeah.
Avoid Armada, though. I was not a fan of Armada.
Oh, I read that. It was actually, it just felt like he was, I don't want to like, I get to meet, because he's actually going to be in Columbus.
He's going to be here, yeah.
On
next week, right?
Yeah. But
Friday?
Is it
This Friday.
Yeah, this Thursday.
Or Thursday, the first, yeah.
But, what was I about? Yeah. Armada just, it didn't have the same, like, draw to me that Ready Player One did, but it was still, it was okay.
I think it's going to be a good movie. I hope. You have to walk. Okay, so Andy, you need to understand there are so many references in this book. There is no way, not even Steven Spielberg money can get the rights to all this shit.
Not even like
it's
Universal.
It's not possible.
Is it Universal?
So if you go in and see this movie first, it is Universal. If you go in and see this movie first, you are going to get the Diet. You have to know you're going to get the Diet Coke version of the book,
and that's why I want to. Yeah. I'm probably going to watch it first, then read, which is what I did with Jurassic Park. So I was like, oh, I really like that movie. And then when I read the book, I was like, I really like the book. So, and I did the opposite though for World War Z. I read that first because
it's so
the movie, everybody
too.
was like, it's so different from the book. Oh, it's so different, but it's good. So I was like, okay, if you're telling me they're completely different, I read the book. And as soon as I got even like one chapter into that book, I was like, I understand why it's going to be you couldn't do a straight adaptation of that.
I don't feel like World War Z, the movie, needed to be different than the book. A lot of people say that, Tim. But it didn't need to be. You could have shot it like a fucking AMC documentary.
I thought that would have been better, right? Like because
World War II
so
in HD.
unique.
Did you ever see that shit?
Yeah.
There's your World War Z right there. You're
much
welcome.
like Game of Thrones. I mean, the books are so much different only because you cannot do all those different storylines on a show because people would just be confused. They'd be like, who's this? Who's this person now? Like, what's going on?
From every different point of view.
What was it, the fourth book where like they add in a million characters that just are so like it's fun, but it's not nearly as like it's like, especially after you read A Storm of Swords, it's like, oh my god, like what's gonna happen now? And it's like I forgot some of the names that are pop up as far as the point of view characters.
Don't worry, George R. R. Martin forgot them too.
Right? Exactly.
He needs to ask his fucking fans on his forums like what color the eyes of a character were like 5 books ago.
Oh really? I didn't know that. Oh,
he can't keep all of his shit straight, so he has fans like us who are obsessed to help answer his own questions on his forums.
They were blue, you asshole.
See, I don't know if I could blame him for that. I just
you created so many different ones.
Yeah, it's just the the little things like I don't that's not a sentence. I'm sorry.
Words are hard.
Words. So, what can you share with us? What you are either currently working on or what is to come from Mr. Charlie Eskew?
Well, thank you, sir. Right now, I am working on. I'm playing around with an idea for a book that I'm trying to put together. I don't really want to talk too much about that one yet. But as far as stuff I have coming out, I have my debut novel, Tales of the Astonishing Black Spark, which is a satire about a black superhero, kind of in our day and age, and then. That book is very near and dear because I wrote it, but also I get to play with a number of different things in it because my first love is literature and then like comics and then anime and then fucking D&D and then insert something artsy so I don't sound like too much like a geek here, but so I get to take on ideas in certain positions that I have and play with how that would interact with like a comic book world. So I'm really excited to see what people think about that. Also, I mean, this isn't really spoiling anything. I get to give a send up because my character, the protagonist of my book, is Donald McDougal, and that's kind of a nod to Dwayne McDuffie. But so I get to just write. So as far as my other project, I'm doing I get to add to the Judge Dredd universe, and I'm writing a piece for the current judges anthology that they're doing. Mine is called "Where the Light Lay Still." It's about an up and coming judge who takes on a very interesting case in Chicago. So that's all I really think I can say about that. But yeah,
they're listening.
Well, the listeners will have to go find your book.
Yes. And
when's that one coming out?
Follow me at CJ Eskew.
There you go. No, plug yourself.
Oh, right? Yeah. I'm still getting used to that.
We will post your stuff too.
Awesome.
When this episode comes out, we're definitely going to post your stuff as well.
Yeah,
so
dude.
Plug away.
Please, yes, thank you.
Plug time.
Right?
And when is the Judge Dredd novel?
Oh, the Judge Dredd's novella comes out in August. Sorry. Yeah.
That's not how you pronounce that, Mark.
Oh, no. I was going for June. I didn't mean to stop at June. I'm sorry.
The month is Joggist.
Joggist.
Because it's Jocelyn.
Oh no, but yeah, August is that release, and then my novel is going to be something like roughly a month later or so. So yeah, it's going to be an interesting year this year.
Well, congratulations!
Thank you.
Congratulations, man.
Thanks, man. It's really exciting.
I bring back the golf clubs.
It's very nice to see someone from
never
geek
left.
culture excel.
Thank you.
Of course.
Yeah, no, I'm hoping I can do us all proud.
I'm sure you will.
Right.
I heard
Unfortunately,
D&D,
I didn't get to put in my 5-page deconstruction as to why the century is garbage, so they had to take that out. But there'll still be other things.
We'll put a word in for you, and
Thank
we'll see
you.
if we can get that added.
Put back in.
Well, we're doing a comic book episode, so I'll rant and curse.
Yes.
Next week.
Great.
So, were you a Judge Dredd fan before you got the opportunity to write it, or did you have to kind of?
Yes and no. So the first experience that I think a lot of people, especially in the U.S., have to Judge Dredd was the Stallone movie. So it was just so that was like my first introduction, and like I was like, oh, his gun's cool or whatever, and like kind of. But then the next thing I got to see was it was a crossover between Batman and Judge Dredd. And that was the first time I got to really see who Judge Dredd was, that he never took off his, helmet, and just like that he's such like, absolute, like, law is law no matter what. But in that you kind of have a character that has conflict in doing the right thing, because like the law doesn't necessarily always align with that. And that's kind of one thing that I'm trying to kind of go on with in my piece specifically. But so I read that, and then I got this awesome opportunity, and then I decided to, of course, do my research. So I dug in, and man, I have to say, like, I'm not just saying this, but like I really enjoy the Judge Dredd universe, especially when you get into it, because it really does act kind of like as a satire of like American like law enforcement, as far as just kind of different viewpoints of it. And then it digs into some interesting ideas as far as like classism and things like that. So I really enjoy like the book itself.
Well, I know I'm looking forward to reading it, and I'm actually, because I was privy to get a little glimpse that you showed me of
did you?
Something maybe, but
burn the witch.
Very, very excited for what's to come.
Oh, thank you. Appreciate it.
But that is all the questions that I
awesome
had brainstormed up. Is there anything else you want to have the listeners know?
Yeah. Now that we're through that, let's get back to Last Jedi. So,
actually, we had a game of Marry, Kill, Fuck. We were going to play with you real fast.
Really? All right.
No.
All right, let's do this.
Right?
Well, we're all three here.
Yeah, right.
Oh, I was thinking Last Jedi characters off of that tangent. I'm sorry. But I mean, you guys are legit.
Chewbacca, Ewok, or Porg.
Oh.
I kill myself.
Drowned by weird alien tit on X planet Luke was on.
Spooning with a Wookiee might be nice.
Yeah.
Drowned by green milk.
God damn it!
I would love like an ASMR video like made based off of that Luke scene where it's just.
Nope.
Nope. Oh
God! I just dry heave.
Get the guy from Grandma's Boy, Jonas Hill.
I think that milk companies.
It's that tit instead of the woman.
Right.
Milk companies have missed out on a new rebirthing the God Milk marketing campaign with this. This throw like Mark Hamill with a fucking green milk mustache.
This is the worst gore noise track I've ever heard.
Right. Oh gosh.
All right, favorite John Hughes movie.
Ooh. Because Breakfast Club's pretty like obvious. So.
And why is it Planes, Trains, and Automobiles? That's the first one that popped in my head. I'm sorry.
Right. I'm a Pretty in Pink guy, I gotta say.
Oh, hell yeah.
You are pretty in pink.
Did you just say hell yeah?
Actually, I do.
I was like, it is Breakfast Club. I mean, that's the correct answer.
Right.
The answer is Breakfast Club.
I'm a weird science kind of guy. He wrote that script in one weekend while drunk.
Oh, yeah, that's
How
true.
did I not love a film that was birthed from that?
God, I do love weird science. I don't know why I forgot about that one entirely. That's hard.
I gotta look it up, but I enjoyed Uncle Buck as a kid. I'm pretty sure he did Uncle Buck.
He also did She's Having a Baby. John Hughes did like he did like 400 movies. You'll never remember.
Home Alone. Home Alone is John Hughes.
Really?
Sure.
Oh, I was all about some Home Alone growing up, man. It's terrifying now. It is terrifying to watch that movie now. That child is a psychopath.
You give Batman or Kevin McAllister any time to prep.
Yeah.
Who's the psychopath? Kevin McAllister or Macaulay Culkin?
Right. I mean, I've seen Good Son too, so it's hard to tell.
Oh yeah.
Have you seen Party Monster?
No, I haven't. I need to though.
So anybody else in this room seen Party Monster?
I have.
All right, Andy. Okay, you've seen it, Tim. So Sweeney. All right. So Party Monster is Kevin McAllister's foray into like the world of Michael Alec of the 80s.
Okay.
So it's nothing but like cross-dressing and drugs, more drugs, and then some cross-dressing.
All right.
It is a fucking intense movie, and Seth Green's performance is phenomenal.
Oh, awesome.
He did do Uncle Buck. Okay.
Oh, okay.
Jesus Christ.
Tim, he did do it.
I forgot about Ferris Bueller.
Fuck. Yeah, no, sorry. I'm amending my, Ferris. It's
changed.
Ferris all day. Yeah.
All right, who wins in a fight, the Justice League or the Avengers?
Okay, so this pissed me off about
It's in the middle of the desert.
Just for the record, no one's around.
Because, okay, like that moment when they did fight and Soups like beats Thor, that makes no fucking sense. The dude is magic. Like it's magic. Granted, okay, and don't throw that movie shit at me like, oh, it's just science, we don't understand. No, he's a fucking Norse god of thunder. He's magic. His hammer would break Superman's jaw. I'm sorry. So that pissed me off. But that aside.
There's no kryptonite in this desert they're fighting in also.
Oh.
That's not bad.
Batman would find some.
I gotta say, I think
he's on Superman's side, Sweeney.
Is he?
It's Justice League versus Avengers.
You
But
know
is
what?
he?
And Josh is gonna murder me for this, but I gotta say, Justice League, just on power set alone, like Avengers are amazing, but yeah.
Yep.
I mean, do you have like
Superman and Wonder Woman alone?
Right.
Would you
yeah.
have all the magic of Avengers, like Scarlet Witch? And
She's a mutant. It's not magic. Read your comics.
Okay, so if we're saying that Avengers team, like we're going like classic Avengers, oh yeah, well Scarlet Witch. I mean, what is it? Chaos magic, basically like retcon magic. Yeah.
That's fucking
because she could just tap into Superman's mind, make him go crazy, and kill everybody else.
Basically, because he wouldn't have any guards
like,
against
hey, you're
it.
back on Krypton.
Right.
Yeah.
And then these all your enemies. And then, boom.
Yeah. It's basically like I was gonna make an anime reference, but just pull like a Itachi and just throw him into a Mangekyo.
There you go.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, God damn it.
Databayo. Oh.
The Naruto run.
Right.
Oh, he knew
I got it.
Andy
Learning.
I've watched 3 episodes of one anime and I know it all.
It's weird because like I love anime, but it was this weird moment of my life where it's like there was this fever dream time period where I just like abandoned comics for a while and just like turned into like an anime nerd and went to cons and fucking cosplayed all the time. And that's awesome and all, but I just like, yeah, I don't know like how I switched so hard
you became one of those.
Yes, exactly.
I turned my back on my American roots for a good 7 years.
Oh no, I wasn't going there.
Weeaboo. He's a weeaboo.
Oh gosh.
He's got a Naruto headdress.
Oh, I do.
No, he does.
Oh.
I think he's putting it on.
Yes.
Gotta show you.
Oh, I am definitely the Phil Kage. You're already dead.
But sir, did you walk around your high school with a listed stat guide for your friends to display them your knowledge of power levels in Dragon Ball Z per season?
Until you got to the point where you were so like
I have to beat you up.
I just have to punch you in the mouth. Sorry,
nerd.
Oh god. Dragon Ball
Is Tim
Z.
okay?
No, he's not.
Did Tim get weeabooed out?
Oh my god.
It broke his
Maximum weeaboo.
Oh,
We
man.
reached a 6. A 6.
God, it was so sad though. Like I remember, I was so happy about that list. Like I stayed up late writing it out. Like nobody knows what their power levels were in the Boo Saga. I'm gonna like create stats and like decide what they were. And then I'm like going to school. Like, oh, my friends are gonna be so impressed with me. Oh God, never a worser moment than that.
You're safe here now. It's okay.
Thank you.
I'm sorry for.
No, it's well deserved. It's well deserved.
Confession, I founded the anime club at my college.
Yes.
I'm sorry.
Oh God.
I had to kick somebody out of the club 3 semesters in because they wanted to watch Azumanga Daioh.
Oh.
But for like all the wrong reasons.
Oh no.
Yeah, Charlie knows. He knows.
I don't know.
I have no clue what you're speaking now.
I'm going to go with the words tentacle and porn.
Yeah. Oh no, but it's
Correct.
like the chibi type of.
Daioh is an anime that is about middle school girls and their drama.
Christ.
Yeah, it's like a slice of life, and if somebody's into that for the wrong reasons,
We went over this.
So it's like anime Degrassi.
right? Basically,
So
yeah.
he had like the full body pillow of the characters.
Oh no!
Yeah, I had to kick this kid out. I was like, no, we're not watching that. It's not on our docket this semester. We're gonna watch fucking Berserk. We're gonna watch like the Count of Monte Cristo.
Yes.
And we're gonna watch like some shit with robots in it. But we're not watching about 11-year-old girls talking about love. That's not happening, bro.
Give me a shining finger any day, and I know that you won't get that, and it's probably going to be off-putting. But give me a shining finger.
E.T.
Oh no!
I want to say go on, but at the same time, I'm just like, no, I don't. You know what?
There's a show called G Gundam. It's basically it's like the hot bloodiest show ever, where one of his moves is his shining finger attack, and this is sounding worse as I talk about it. Look you in the eyes.
I was gonna say I pulled that attack the other night in bed. I don't know.
I mean, I can't get past the idea that people are paid to animate this shit.
Oh man.
G Gundam is about the different countries of the world fighting in tournaments using gigantic robots as their representatives. It is basically Robo Wars.
No, I mean, I watched Gundam Wing. I know what Gundam is.
Well, this one's like if Gundam Wing wasn't full of sad boys who wanted to like kill themselves and listen to My Chemical Romance.
Hey,
I love
quit describing my freshman year of high school.
Right?
Thank God you didn't have a giant robot, Tim.
Oh man.
Well, in a couple of weeks, we're going to have our follow-up to our anime episode.
Oh, okay.
And I've started my homework.
Oh, please, yes.
And so far, I'm actually not totally off-put yet.
I'm looking forward to watching that one.
But I'm
you heard him. He said that.
But this was something that was low on the Weeaboo scale, so I'm going to actually also watch a 5 on the Weeaboo scale show, the No Gamers, No Life.
Oh, okay.
If you get through an episode, I will do nothing.
Spoiler
If
word.
you get through the first 10 minutes of No Game, No Life, I will be incredibly disappointed in you as a person.
Oh, I will not make eye contact with you at work.
Charlie can understand, like our anime, like the whole episode. Like, please, I'd love it if you'd listen, and we'd love your feedback on it.
Definitely, yeah, I love it.
But yeah, there's anime that's like stomachable to the palate of a typical American geek. Like,
oh yeah, like your Cowboy Bebops and basically anything on Adult Swim. Yeah,
like mainstream anime.
Yeah,
but then you've got like the "Why won't my sister marry me" anime.
Right. Yeah.
Why did this shit happen? So yeah, like there's like it's not that fine of a line. It's a pretty big border. It's like a DMZ, like a North Korean. Like,
and granted, like incest stuff weirdly is like, as far as like fiction is acceptable in Game of Thrones, like for some reason, which is weird. It's like everybody's like, oh, I ship Danny X John so hard. It's like, it's fucking on, man. but you know, but in anime, it's just so much weirder. Like, I don't mean, it's even weirder. It's so, yeah.
Because at least Game of Thrones, that is more fictional fantasy. And when they introduce the incest, it's the villains. So you're like, yeah.
And it's
now
like
that they're going with Jon and Daenerys, I'm kind of like,
It's not like you have characters who have like current cell phones saying, oh, my sister. It's like, no.
Like, stop.
Okay, I agree with you guys 100% on the Jon Daenerys front.
Yeah.
His aunt. But in their defense of their relationship, it's the least incestuous Targaryen relationship.
That's true. Yeah, it's a good point.
Baby steps.
Right.
Baby steps. They're like it's like, what if Kentucky ruled America? Forever.
Well, also, they don't know, do they?
No,
they don't know.
No, not yet.
But you know who does
know?
Oh,
shit. Spoiler warning. For those who have not watched. No, I'm just joking.
How dare you spoil a show that's been out for a year? We are ruthless savages here. We don't give a fuck about this.
Yeah, Tim is not caught up, but that's on him. So.
Oh, I mean, I know that they banged.
Oh, okay.
That's good.
I'm sure somebody at the water cooler at work the next day was super inappropriate. Like, can't believe you fucked his aunt, bro.
Oh, if it was the next day, I would have just drop kicked him.
Right? Yeah. There's like a statute of limitations.
That was not the fun code that I was avoiding also.
I mean, like, a year is fine, but if it's literally the next day, like, I'm going to uppercut you.
Right, yeah.
Just fucking de-trigger the shit out of you.
Oh, no.
Wait, Andy, how does that move go?
Which one?
The uppercut from Street Fighter. How does that go?
Is that the Shoryuken?
No, he got it right. Fuck.
Damn it.
Usually he goes Hadouken.
No, he said Shoryuken.
No, he said Shadouken.
Shadouken.
Shapoopy.
That's where mine went too.
I thought you said Tiger Uppercut.
I told you, I've watched 3 episodes of an anime. I'm totally on this now.
Why is it that every time we like wrap an episode up, I want to just punch you?
Is that the sign? Is that like
no? It's just like
timer.
Street Fighter.
Tim's rage level keeps going up, and it's like, all right.
I hate to do this, gentlemen. One last thing before we wrapped up this night. Andy doesn't have bronchitis anymore.
I don't.
And he promised that when he got better,
I'm not doing it.
He would
I'm not doing it.
He promised. We have it filmed.
No.
That he would do his Irish accent for us.
Oh, God.
Oh.
It's not even an Irish accent.
It's not.
He's not going to do it. Look at him. He's scared.
Do it.
I'm looking. I will not break eye contact.
Then I'm not breaking eye contact with you when I go,
It's not even an accent.
No, there have to be like chums.
What was the N-word there?
All right, Andy, now do your Australian accent.
Gosh.
He just can't do it. He can't.
You sound like a midget right now.
Oh my gosh.
It doesn't matter what the accent is. It's just fucking shit.
God.
And arigato.
No, don't laugh at him. He actually got that right.
No, he said the same thing. Like that's the only word he knew from our anime episode.
He left out the Domo, Mr. Roboto.
I did. I left that part out.
Oh, man.
He's trying. God bless him.
I think I picked up a konnichiwa.
Nani.
Yeah.
Did you pick up a dame kudasai? Yamero. Nissan. Notice me, senpai.
Oh God.
We must.
I cannot.
Yeah,
he told me today he was going to check out the rest of My Hero Academia, and we're looking forward to hearing it. But thank you so much, Charlie.
No, thank you.
Thank you for coming.
Thank you guys.
It's been a pleasure having you.
Thank you. It's appreciated.
Plug it.
Oh, Tales of the Astonishing Black Spark, September, and the Judges will be in August. And follow me at CJ Eskew, ESKEW.
Yeah, please give Charlie a shout out. Check out his stuff. Thanks for tuning in again to the Hateful Geeks. We enjoyed having you, and we look forward to having you back next time.
Thanks.
So I'm Phil.
Appreciate it.
This is Sweeney.
I'm Andy.
And this is Tim.
And Charlie.
This is Charlie. Wakanda forever.
You're white. Stop. You're
insect
white.
now.
Stop doing that.
Hey, he can support.
Right.
Andy, you can say it. You can't do this though. That's not okay.
I thought he was on the Xbox.
The DX.
That's downward. That's the Generation X.
That's this.
This is Wakanda forever.
DX forever.
Oh gosh. Oh, that's a sad fusion.
Welcome to our show.
Hey, at least the Black Panther was not dropping elbows on people from the top of the rafters like that abysmal Blade 3.
Oh yeah.
Oh my God.
Some motherfuckers got to ice skate uphill.
Listen.
Goddamn
listen.
pedigree in the
Triple
movie.
Pedigree, whoever the fuck he was.
Listen, Linda.
Listen.
Linda.
I do have to say one of the best Ryan Reynolds insults was you cock juggling thunder cunt. That was like the shining moment in the movie to me.
You cock juggling thunder cunt.
That's what I call my ex-wife.
No.
Try that out first.
Oh.
Maybe edit that. I don't know.
Probably not. We're going to open with that.
You should just end it with "fuck that bitch."
I'm going to actually.
Yes.
Oh.
Yes.
Fuck that bitch and
Whoa.
And
I want to slam my ham in your can, woman. Scene. I gotta say, dude, fucking.
Oh, sorry, I realized you were taking a picture.
Zach and Miri make a porno. Justin Long's greatest role of all time. Of all time.
Okay.
Better than Accepted.
was it like 12 Angry Dudes?
Yeah. What did you say? It was like Glenn Ross.
It's like if it was like Glenn banged Gary and Ross.
Meaty Chud. Like, oh. Fuck.
Yeah, like 12 angry guys locked in a room together.
Are you still recording video, Sweeney?
Yeah.
Stop.